Good morning. It is diary 7. It's been 7 whole weeks. It's half 10 on 28th of June. Another beautiful day in MK. That's actually sarcasm. It's, that's a dirty mirror. That's also dirty. Look at that beautiful outside. Holy moly. That looks much dirtier when it's in reflection. So, past weeks. We'll start with job. So, still awaiting my Accenture contract. Got an email from a big four company, which I applied to June, May, April. So I applied late April to this big four company, who then I kept seeing advertisements for the exact same role whilst I was on hold. So I passed like the first two bits, like the CV screening, and then the next part. They said I passed, but I was on hold. So I kept seeing advertisements for this job, and I was like, "Are you gonna like? What am I supposed to apply again, or am I just not good enough? Just tell me I'm not gonna get it, or tell me I've got it." So anyway, that came off hold. And say congratulations, you're through to the next stage. I applied in April. That's been 2 months, and I know you say, "Oh well, they're so busy. There's so many clients, or so many applications." But I mean, when you're trying to organise a job for September start or October, I mean, waiting until July to get the actual words is it's pretty late, especially when you apply in April. So I obviously had to reject that due to having accepted the job. Um, Next, oh, my taste and smell is starting to come back. So 2 days ago, my beard looks so squint here. Maybe it is. I don't know. So I got I got my Hue t-shirt. It actually feels really nice. But so I've been having my Hue for like breakfast, just something quick and easy and nutritious, I suppose. What was I going to say now? Jeez, oh, my wee brain fried, getting distracted so easily. Something about Hugh. Can't even remember now. Don't know. We'll just start talking. Still, right, Jim. That was it. Taste and smell. So 2 days ago, I had a Hue, a berry Hue, and as soon as I cracked it open, I got like a whiff of berry, and I was like, "Oh, is this coming back?" And then the night before as well, I could kind of taste the sweetness of a pizza we had, like a barbecue pizza. And I says to Joanna, she's like, nah, I can't really taste anything. So I was like, oh, maybe it's coming back. And then yesterday, uh, what was it? We were at McDonald's, and I got like the spicy veggie one wrap, and see like the kind of spicy tomato in it, and the little like bits that are in the wrap are kind of like mini bean burgers, and I could taste the bean burger, and I could taste and smell the spicy tomato. Like I could, and then I tried a bit of cucumber because I thought I'll know because I don't like cucumber. Well, not really. It's kind of like I couldn't eat bits of it in a salad. I could maybe, but anyway, the cucumber, bit into that, and because normally with this like loss of smell and taste, initially it was just completely, but then for the majority of the time I've not had it. What it is more like is you get like the first couple of percent of taste. So it's like as soon as you bite, you think I'm gonna taste it because you start to taste it and then it just disappears and you don't taste anything else. So it's like the thing I was saying. I don't know if I said it in this, but I said it in like the COVID kind of like daily vlog thing, which was if you imagine like a taste experience of a bell curve, you get like the first 5% and it just cuts off. Whereas that happened yesterday, but instead of the 5% cut off for the cucumber, it kind of went up a bit more and then kind of dulled away as opposed to just going up and chopping off. So that's definitely coming back, which is good. We also were chopping garlic yesterday for dinner. So a couple of days ago, we had steaks for dinner, and I was cooking it with garlic, like three garlic cloves in the pan. Could not smell a thing. Normally, you'd be like stinking the house out, but we couldn't smell a single thing. Whereas yesterday we were chopping up garlic, and if you went like right close and sniffed, you could smell the garlic. So we're finally getting back. That was the 6th of June was my first symptoms, and by the 8th, I had lost my taste and my smell. I think it was 8th or 9th. So that's like 20 days with basically zero, and now it's coming back. So that's cool. Although I was considering that if it didn't come back for ages, it didn't really care because then it would just force me to eat better, I suppose. Because you think you're not going to crave like crap, but you still do. Because, like, say for instance with chocolate, you still get the sweetness and the creaminess of it. So and your body obviously knows what it is, so you still kind of crave it. But it makes it easier to like down protein shakes or drink you. So that's come back, which is cool. Tiredness, still pretty tired. I'm actually now like literally just the past day I'm feeling better with my tiredness. Um, so I've been sleeping, normally sleep like 7.5 hours, maybe up towards 9 if I'm working hard, like working out hard and studying hard. Because I noticed that just takes a lot more out of my body. Um, but recently it's like if you'll have like 9 hours and still feel as if you wake up and you'll feel as if you've only had like 6.5. Um, so a couple of days I've been like napping as well, but that's now kind of went away. That was more towards the beginning of last week. And now last night I had like just under 8, and although my eyes look a little bit tired, it's not like too bad compared to usual. So that's definitely gone away. My brain fog is definitely gone away as well. It's just everything's getting like, and my strength is coming back in the gym, so everything's just getting like much better. Um, in the gym, I was able to kind of work up to what was it? 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 120, 140. A 150 rack pull for like 3. Reason I couldn't do any more is because my hands were dying. Because I've obviously not really lifted. I've not lifted like a proper weight, like a barbell or a dumbbell. I've only been doing machines when I was trying to get back into the gym. Just because I was going with my mum or like into that portion of the gym which doesn't really have barbells or anything. Um, so my hands and my little forearms were absolutely dying, but I was able to work up that, which was good. And then yesterday, for legs, I was able to do leg press, leg extension, and the in and out hip, whatever's. Um, so my workload's definitely, I'm able to do a lot more workload, which is good. So we're getting back to normal, which is cool. Last week also for my dissertation. So I was last Monday. I emailed regarding like extensions and what to do. Should I just pick up where I left off, or because I was supposed to have a meeting last week with my supervisor, but obviously I couldn't do the work because I didn't work for the 2 weeks before that. Just brain would not be able to do it. So I was supposed to do platforms for my dissertation. So I looked into competitive advantage, found kind of transient advantage, which to me just stuck as an obvious concept, something that should be talked about more. So I looked more into that and platforms, and the platform literature was so big. So I kind of couldn't find a research question. So I followed essentially the steps given by the university in the dissertation module, which is read the literature and find a gap, and then you have your research question. Holy moly. That's, I mean, maybe it's good advice, but to me, it was just the worst advice ever. I just keep getting so unbelievably overwhelmed with what's there. I think I've kind of lost track of critically analysing papers, and I'm more just looking at what's the conclusion of the paper. And then I'll have a big list of conclusions from a bunch of papers, which might be related, might not be, and I'm trying to figure out where's the gap, and I just have no idea. So that was a nightmare with the platform thing. And then I was talking to Joanna's dad about platforms and realised I really don't know anything about them. It's just a kind of idea I've got because I just want. It's getting to the point now in my dissertation where I just want to pick something that is doable. I just want to be able to do something. I don't care how interested I am in it. I just want a question that I can do with steps to do it, and I'll be happy. So I went looking through all my old, well, not old, but like last semester and the semester before, my best grades, and I was thinking, what is the trend or what is a topic in which I actually have a lot of background um, data on or research that I've previously done, as opposed to going into like competitive advantage was just something that I thought was inherently interesting, and platforms was just something that came about as an idea of the next stage of competitive advantage. So like from Porter's Five Forces, resource-based view, temporary slash transient, ambidextrous, and then kind of like platforms as if platform is the necessity for a competitive advantage now. So I was going to try and do that, but then I was looking through my stuff and I thought, what's something that I'm actually would be interested in? Like, what's something that I have a lot of background knowledge on, or at least I have an essay with a decent amount of references, which I've already sifted through, I've critically analysed, and have a basis for, and that I find interesting. And so it kind of narrowed it down pretty much to human resources, which I think I liked human resources because I was able. It was the first time I was able to critically analyze something because I was critical of it anyway. So with critical, like with human resources, it would be like how well do they do, or what do they do that's good, or something to do with how is HR so good. So I'm going away critically analysing it like, are they good? What are they doing that's good? What are they doing that's bad? I don't know. I think it's just because it's such it's practical. It's practical in its application, and it's evident in its application. And HR is obviously something that's inherently, what's the word? I don't know. I can't even think of the word, and I'm just getting distracted now. But basically, just that HR is something that I am inherently critical of, it seems, and that I have an interest in. So my essay, which I done well in, was regarding self-determination theory, and the question was, how does HR champion better working and professional lives? And I looked into self-determination theory, and as opposed to just seeing loads of conclusions, I actually analysed like the methodology of different sources and stuff to try and kind of decide whether or not the theory was relevant and to find what assumptions and basis the theory is on. So you can see that like when people are building on these theories that they're assuming the same things, and then critically analyze whether or not it is. And it seems that my kind of takeaway was to do with autonomy and the part autonomy plays in developing intrinsic motivation in employees, which then in turn should increase job satisfaction, work performance, which should increase firm performance. And then a couple of different little critiques. So I've went away now and I'm looking into a possible question being something along the lines of, pardon me, how can employees motivate work from home employees to optimize performance? Pardon me again. Something like that. So basically, just because there's not much literature on work from home, and there's not, and it's such a prevalent thing now, especially after COVID or during slash after lockdown stuff. And the traditional literature is all on how do you motivate employees, not how do you motivate someone who wakes up and walks to their desk in their own house, because there's a completely different new realm of factors which influence this person's behavior. The amount of control that a company has is over the influencing factors is also minimized relative to an office where you can control almost everything in the setting. You can't really control that in one's home, which they try, with the webcam stuff and all that. But there's so much more to it at home. It's just like a whole new thing. So my idea is to kind of analyze the current theories and so analyze what factors are at play in the literature already. So this is all to do with the literature already. I'm considering doing a meta-analysis or something, but we'll kind of think more about that probably this time next week. And also, I'm rambling on here, but it's kind of like allowing me to organize it all in my brain. That's the whole point in this anyway, So to find the factors which impact motivation in the office workplace, find the factors which impact work from home, find the link between this and motivation of the employee with current motivational theories, and see how they link into this. Then now we have work from home factors. How can these theories be applied to there? So that's the idea. I don't even know if I'll be able to do it. So I gave myself basically most of last week to do it. I'm going to do a mini literature review of even just a couple of thousand words, just very brief, and send that to my supervisor today and say, this is my new idea. I'm much more passionate about it. I have a better understanding of the literature. So because I have a good understanding of the competitive advantage literature, but not in a critical manner, more of a kind of chronological definition-based knowledge. Whereas of the motivation kind of sector, employee motivation and human resources, I have like a critical base, especially with self-determination theory. So we've got a bunch of stuff to do with that. So we'll try and get that done, send it to him, say, can I basically change it completely? Because I was trying last week at the beginning to bring in competitive advantage and this, but it just seems more work than it's worth. Like, what's the point in trying to bring it in to essentially just to appease my initial dissertation proposal, just to say that it's like a twist on that, but it's not. Shouldn't really be a twist. It's a whole new thing. So we'll see if we're allowed to do that. Basically, we have a organised meeting on the 8th of July, which is a week on Thursday. So yes, we'll see how that goes. Recreational stuff, don't know. Been going to the gym, working hard. Been able to work heavy now. Don't think there's anything more. Oh, been watching the Euros as well. Gutted. Portugal's out yesterday. We're mental. Ronaldo, 36, and still playing. World class. Breaking records even. I'm sure he just broke the. He's broke the to be in the most number of Euros. 5, I think it said. Now it's the most number of goals in like finals, like what is it, country finals or something. So basically like World Cups and Euros. So mental. It's great to watch on play, especially since I used to. I think he was pure cool when I was a wee guy, and to see him still play, it's just mental. What else? Well, England are playing Germany tomorrow, so I need to buy a German football top. Oh, Scotland went out as well. Rubbish from them. Nah, they actually played not too bad, and especially in the third game, they're just so unlucky to play against such a brilliant Croatia. It was mental. But we're glad they got here, and now hopefully they can bring this momentum into September when they can try and qualify for the World Cup, and they're already in good stead for qualification. So fingers crossed with that. Because that'll be just be next year, which is mental. But yes, I've just been watching the Euros and stuff. I need to stop saying so much. Can't think of anything else really. Last week as well, at the beginning of last week, with a kind of parking dilemma here. And initially, we were freaking out a little bit because I think I just had so much. Whenever I've like stressed about something, it's like a dissertation or whatever, I feel like the only thing I can do is to just basically cut myself off for everyone physically and work 24/7. Like that's the kind of idea in my head of what I want to do. Like essentially in my brain, I would love to just have an Airbnb, just me, gym and groceries near me, meal prep, gym, work. No one else there, no distractions. This is like what my head thinks. And I think it's because I feel like I'm so in the chaos that I'm just trying to control everything around it so that I can just focus on it. So with the parking dilemma, it started just stressing me out, and I was like, I've got too much on my plate. It was kind of like the last straw thing, especially after being locked in the house for 2 weeks. Your mental state and stuff, you're just like, oh my god. So, to combat that and to try and get some kind of social energy and a bit of novelty, I went out to Centre MK and just. I actually took my laptop with me and intended to go to a coffee shop. I then got there and just sat on like a bench and I had emails and self certification and stuff to do. And it literally took me like 2 hours. And then the other half hour I was walking about there trying to find a seat and just walking about. And then Joanna finished work early because she wasn't feeling too good. So that was the extent of that. But it felt so good just to get out, to see other people, to sit in a different environment. So then the next day I chose to go to Spoons. This is a Spoons near. How did I not know this? 99p for a cup of coffee, unlimited refills. That's mental. But then it's funny because in your mind you're like, oh, 99p cup of coffee slash hot chocolate slash tea, you can get whatever you want. Unlimited. Like unlimited as in you can get a coffee, then a tea, then a cappuccino, then a hot chocolate, whatever you want to do. But you think in your mind, ha ha ha, I feel this feels criminal. I'm spending £1 and I'm going to be there for like 4 hours. Aye, that's because you don't. Because obviously, Spoon's marketers are cleverer than my wee human brain. So I sit there drinking my coffee thinking, ha ha ha. Then, after like 2 hours, you're like, what's for lunch? Then you buy lunch when you never intended to get lunch. So, but no, it was good there as well in Spoons just to get out and have a new environment. So I think I went there on Monday after Centre MK. Centre MK picked Joanna back up from work and then went to Spoons. And then on Tuesday, because it was so good, we went again for like 4 hours or something. But it was good just to get out and about. So, what else? Oh, yesterday we went to get Joanna's new Apple Watch. That was cool. And tried a different gym, the Pure Gym in MK instead of Bletchley, which was cool. Much cooler. It's just such a better vibe, environment, and so many more machines and stuff. So that was cool. I was going to say something. Why did I keep saying my mustache. Oh, I had to cut here, so it was like big and twirly, and it was annoying the life out of me. So I just went, both, cut. That just doesn't look too bad. I trimmed my beard right down as well, as you can see. Too much. So I straightened it all, chopped here. But it looked like here you could see like these hairs were like going all the way down here, like they were like this long still at the top. And I was like, this looks ridiculous. So I'd done like a number 8 and didn't realise that it literally would take everything off. But it always makes me look fresh faced and slimmer, and I don't know, I kind of like it. Oh, I'm trying to get my gains back, so because I've just made me think there, and I'm like, I look slimmer, and I'm like, I don't like how slim I'm looking, but so I'll try to get the gains back, get back to where we were. Although the consequences that were Joanna and I have been sore like every day somewhere, so you're sore on your chest, shoulders, thighs, or your shoulder, and your back and your forearms, thighs or you're sore on your legs. But it's kind of like last September to December when I built my physique back up after not gymming really at all since March to September. Um, and honestly, you do get all your gains back, and everyone's like, "Oh, don't worry, you get your gains back in like a month." It's like, a month of being sore every day, eating like 3,000 calories every day, sleeping like 9 hours a night, you know. So I'm trying to do that again. So I've accepted fate, which is I'm going to be sore until then. What was the point I was going to say yesterday? Oh, went out to Waterstones. I seen a couple of books I was going to buy. Then I went and looked around all the other books and then decided not to buy the first books that I seen because I seen other books which I liked more. But then I seen so many that I liked that there was too many, so I didn't get any, basically. But the reason I didn't really get any is because I was like, oh, well, I can just get it on my Kindle because I never use my Kindle ever. I tried to use it for PDFs, but then it kind of gets to the point where, especially if your eyes aren't that strained, you're like, I'll just go on my laptop and move stuff about, and I can switch between them really fast as opposed to going on my Kindle and then click, and then it takes like literally takes like 5 seconds to go back to the other page, and then you click on the other one. It takes like between 2 and 5 seconds to come back up. So, and that's not because of me or because of storage or anything. It's literally just the way the Kindle is because of how it loads up. So it's good for like reading. It's not good for flicking back and forward. But yeah, it started getting me thinking that I need to really start reading again properly. So I'm going to set some reading targets this week and just do what I used to do, which is like have like a target of working out or calories or reading or whatever it may be, meditating or something, and just do all those kind of targets again. Because I'm noticing that due to my lack of socials, essentially, and then whenever I do socialize with someone, it's like parents, Joanna, Kieran. It's like it's not exactly challenging my mental capacity nor my vocabulary. And I don't mean that detrimentally to anyone. It's literally just it doesn't. And so what I'm noticing is that words are always on the tip of my tongue. I can never quite get them. And I'm noticing a trend also is that my vocabulary is much better and my capacity for thought is much better when I'm reading consistently and learning new words. And I think it's just reading more. And I don't mean just reading anything. So like doing my dissertation. I mean like specifically reading like articulate books and spending the time to just sit and read and enjoy. It's kind of like I was joking to Joanna about like a self-help book. So like I love a self-help book kind of stuff. I like all that stuff. And I accept that the book itself probably won't really do much to me. Maybe give me some practical tips. Probably not. Well, probably not much. Like maybe a couple, which I'll maybe do, maybe won't. But the whole point of it to me is that a self-help book is almost like a waking up early. So reading a book, self-help book, is kind of like the mental, like some sort of mental equivalence to say waking up at 6 a.m. Why? Because when you wake up at like 6 a.m. deliberately to be productive, you feel much more productive. You could sit at your desk for the same number of hours, but because you done something to make yourself move into this like state of productive production, whatever, you do work better. So it's not the getting up earlier, it's the so it's not the getting up earlier per se. So it's not that as a concept. It's more say no distractions. The mindset that you're in of I get up early to work, that kind of thing. So it's the same with like a self-help book. When one reads such, they move into a mental state of helping oneself, and so they'll fill the rest of their day to help them. So it's not really the practical aspects of the book. It's at least this is in my opinion and from my experience. It's less about that and more about the state in which your mind goes into this self-helping state of what else can I do, how else can I be better, what can I do today. At least that's what I notice. So like when I read self-help books, it will also be times probably when I'm looking more into vegetarianism or something like that, or veganism, which then leads me, whether or not into vegan is a completely different question, but it leads me then into thinking more about health and you then exercise more, you eat healthier, all from stemming from reading this book, which has nothing to do with health. But so don't know why I was what the point was going with there, but that's the point. Also, if you're wanting a good practical book, on the way here, because the journey's like 7 hours, I listened to Atomic Habits on Audible. Kind of key takeaway points I can think off the top of my head, see, because I normally don't remember the takeaway points because I write them down, and when I write stuff down, see, if I write stuff down as soon as I hear it, then I forget about it in my mind. So I'll remember to look at it to then plan things, but I'll forget that. Whereas if I think of something and write it down, that actually makes me remember it. Kind of the same way, like if you think, I need to go get Joanna at 2, for instance, and you're like, oh, what if I get so in the workflow that I forget what time it is? So you set an alarm for like 1:30. When 1:25 comes, your brain knows that you've set the alarm. So it's like tells you, remember Joanna before the alarm goes off. So that's kind of the same thing that I get. I make it get that. So if I think of something, I'll write it down, and just the act of writing it down makes me remember it. However, when I'm learning something, if I write it down, it's almost as if my brain's like, don't worry, you don't need to know it. It's written down. Do you know what I mean? So I get that loads. This is babbled on. It's like 32 minutes long. But concluding remarks regarding Atomic Habits is stack your habits. So when you do one, do another straight after it. Do another straight after it. That's something that I've even practically noticed in my life before reading the book. Worked well. So like in the morning, I would read my book. Then I would go skipping. Then I would have a healthy breakfast. Then I'd start work. And that sounds like not much, but just to do that, come noon, when you've done, say, 3 hours of work and all the other things, you're like, you feel so much more productive, and then you feel like you've had a better day, and then you feel like because you've had a better day, the rest of your day has to continue to be just as good. So habit stacking. Another one is just do stuff that's like short and sweet. Don't try and kick the backside out of it, essentially, which would be, for me, something like skipping. So I took up skipping to do it in the morning, and I would do 10 minutes. Not straight, I started building it up. So I started with like 30 seconds on, 30 off, or 40 seconds on, 20 off, something like that. And then I just built it up to like, what was it? It was like 1 minute 40 on, 20 off, 5 times. Something like that. But the point was that it was short, it only took 10 minutes in the morning, but it made me move into that mental state of I exercise. I am someone who gets up in the morning and exercises. I'm productive in the morning. And you kind of move into that person. Another example as well is like meditation. People are like, oh, I don't have, insert here, a stupid amount of minutes or an hour to meditate. It's like, don't meditate for 2 minutes, meditate for 5 minutes. And these just little habits. And then once you get into them, you can keep doing it. So habit stack and then make them short initially. The other reason you make them short initially is because when you start doing something, you're more likely to continue it, because the hardest part is just to start it. So for instance, I think an example he gives in the book is, if you want to start running, just make a habit of getting in your running clothes. So like, say you want to run at 6 p.m, literally just make the habit, put on your running clothes and your running trainers and tie them. That's the habit. And then go do what you want. But when you put them on, in your mind you're like, oh, I just need to put them on. That's easy. As soon as you put them on, you'll be like, oh, well, I mean, I should run. I'm ready. So it sounds silly, but really does work. It's like when you don't want to get out of bed in the morning to start work. But as soon as you get out of bed, that's you're ready. You start working. The hardest part is just getting out of bed. So it's the same kind of thing. Can't really think anything else to do with the book. It's kind of the most practical ones. Oh, another one which I thought was a good practical example as well is he was saying, like, if you want to start reading, say before you go for a shower, just put a book on your bed. And it sounds silly, but it's kind of like a cue. So like I'll come out of shower, put a YouTube video on, mess about, doing whatever, shaving, or just getting ready, just watching a YouTube video. Next thing I know, I'm in the kitchen, just then I'll pour a glass of water, have something to eat, then I'll go in my bed and just lie on my phone, watching YouTube videos. But if you set the book on your bed, you come out the shower, you go into your room and you go, oh, maybe I should read. Aye. Oh, since I'm on a roll, I'll just go to 40 minutes. Chuck it. So, a practical thing as well I was thinking about is that sometimes I struggle to sleep because I struggle to turn my brain off from thinking about everything I could be doing that's not sleeping. And a really practical example, that something that everyone always says and that I never take away, but it's so true, is when you go to, like, for me, I would be on my phone, lying in bed, then switch my phone off, or we'll just click it off, set it down, and then try and sleep. Maybe to do this, I would be lying and it would be 11:55, and I'll say at 12 I'll put my phone down and I'll go to sleep. You might do it, or just like studying, you might just wait until 12:01 and then you're like, oh, but it's past 12. I need to just stay up now. Still, kind of go to bed because that's me. I've ruined that idea. But some practical habit which people have been saying everywhere I look about sleep, and I tried and it worked, and even though it worked, I still don't do it all the time, but it works, is when I made a little kind of timetable of my day, my idea was 10 p.m. lights or electronics are off. No laptop, no phone, no TV, no whatever, stuff like that. Dim the lights down, only have lamps on. Then, for the next hour, read. Just read a book. Sitting in bed, sitting in your chair, wherever you want to go, just read a book. And then at 11, go to sleep. And I'd done it a couple of times, and every single time it worked, and I'd fall asleep within 10 minutes of lying down, as opposed to lying on my phone, not being able to sleep, rolling back and forwards for like 40 minutes to an hour, or even staying up for like hours on end because I can't sleep. Literally within like 50 minutes fell asleep. The hardest part about this, or to do it, is the same thing I was talking about with Atomic Habits, which is you need to tell yourself that's it, electronics are going off. And the hardest bit about that, for instance, for me would be I'm watching a YouTube video and I get 5 minutes into a 12-minute video and it's 9:59 and I'm like, oh, I'll just watch this video. You get to the end of the video, you get a recommended video again. You go watch that one. Next thing you know, it's 12. The hardest bit is to say to yourself, that's it, get it off. Because as soon as you say get it off, that's you fine. It's the same with a book. As soon as you sit down and open a book and read like 2 pages, that's you. You're ready to read now. You are reading. So you just continue to read. The hardest bit is to change your state into being a being who is reading currently. Because that's like an example as well. It gives an Atomic Habits of just set yourself the goal of reading 1 page in a book. And you're like, why would I read 1 page of it? That's so silly. But it's because you're basically tricking your brain into, as soon as you sit down and read 1 page, you'll be like, oh, I'm as well reading the next page. And you'll keep reading until the book's boring or whatever. But you will definitely read more than 1 page, more than likely. And you will definitely, at least, if you've done it every day over a month, you will 100% average much more than 1 a day. Because even if you just do 1 a day, 6 days a week, and then on 7th day you're like, oh, this book's actually really good, I'm going to read it for half an hour. And say you're a slow reader and you read 15 pages. Then in that week, you've read 21 pages. That's more than 1 a day. And 21 pages is what? 10% of like a little normal book. Maybe like, I don't know, 7% of a big book. Like, they're big for me, 300-page book. It's like 7% or something, I don't know. But just makes you think. So anyway, I'm getting a thing here telling me hurry up because I'm running out of data on my phone. Or well, not data. Memory. Not memory even either. Storage. Computer scientist called memory. Oh. So no, storage. So anyway, goals for this week is to literature review. I want it done this week. That's the goal. Also, want to meditate a few times this week, and I want to do a few half-hour reading sessions, and also gym. But the gymming one's not hard for me, especially when I have an actual gym to go to. I mean, it's harder to not go. Or the only time it's hard to go is when you justify in your head that you're running behind on work. But I'm definitely going to be gymming at least 3-4 times. So that is the plan for this week. It's Monday. It's now 11:10. But let's get to this dissertation, man. Let's get a good week. Boys. See you later.